Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. Friends, I have something wonderful to share with you. I received in the mail this wonderful deck called the Zammer Twins Oracle by the brilliant Patrick Valenza of Deviant Moon. And I'm really excited to have this because I've been wanting an oracle deck to pair with my Tarot de Marseille readings. And I got this deck because I think it will pair beautifully. The intention for this deck is that we're imagining it was created by the Zammer twins in 1767, around the time of the Conver decks and the boom of Tarot de Marseille. So, friends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to do a walkthrough of this deck, and I'm going to try and do a short reading, I think, with the Tarot de Marseille deck, just to check to make sure that this deck and a Tarot de Marseille deck, a traditional Tarot de Marseille deck, will pair together well. Okay, friends? So, if you're interested, stick with me and let's venture forth together. Here we go. Hello friends, and we are back. We're back to the walkthrough and unboxing, actually, of the Zammer Twins Oracle. Now, this is a portrait card that came with the deck. You see the two Zammer twins right there. On the back, there is a sigil, an extra bonus gift from Patrick Valenza. Thank you very much. But this is not what you're probably interested in. This is what you are probably interested in. This is the Zammer Twins Oracle. Imagined to have been created in 1767. The production company, as you see, is Deviant Moon Incorporated. And you can also see my new pointer chopstick that I just bought. Can you see that? That's my new tool for my videos. I went all in. So, this is the back of the box. We've got the drummer. Now, I don't know anything, well, I shouldn't say that. I know very little about this deck because I pre-ordered it quite a while ago and I've frankly forgotten what it is. You remember from the intro to this video that I was planning on using this with my Tarot de Marseille readings. Now, I don't think I will, no, I know I will not use it for this coming week's Tarot de Marseille reading, but for subsequent readings, I'm thinking of adding an oracle card to that reading. My series that I call Le Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Yeah? Le Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune, or if I'm using an Italian deck, what do I call it? It's Benvenuti nella Appeso sulla luna. Appeso sulla luna in Italian, and Le Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune in French. So anyways, this is the deck. You just saw the box in all of its tuck box glory. Now, I don't like tuck boxes. You probably know that. Maybe you don't like them either. But this one, for a tuck box, is wonderful. It opens very easily. Yeah, opens very nicely, and here comes the deck. Let me show you the backs first. So, this is what the backs of the deck will look like. Now we got a sun in what looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is that called? An octagon. Yes, with the sun. Yes, with the sun. And if you're curious about size, this is a standard US Games Tarot deck, so it is thinner and it's just a bit longer than a standard Tarot deck, which is interesting because I think for a general Tarot de Marseille deck, this is going to be just a hair bigger than a lot of my Tarot de Marseille decks. Maybe a little bit thinner too, we'll see. So that's what the backs look like. And this is an extra card, the Zammer Twins Oracle, 1767. Deviant Moon. Love the wigs on these guys. Don't you? You see the Z there for their last name, the Zammer twins. They are conjoined twins. And so this is the first, is this the first card? No, this is another art card, I believe. Does it have okay, so here we have Karl and Ono Zammer. Have I been saying Zimmer? I mean Zammer. Karl and Ono Zammer, 1767. And this is the first card. Now, this does not come with a guidebook. So, I hope there is a guidebook online. I don't recall if there is one. If there is one, I'll put that information in the description box below. Also, in the description box below, I'll have a link to Patrick Valenza's Deviant Moon website so you can get a copy of this deck. But can you see why I'm thinking of using this with my Tarot de Marseille decks? The time period is going to be a little bit similar. And here's the Acrobat, number 2. And actually, this looks like 3, not... Interesting. That is a 2, but it kind of looks like an upside down 3 to me. But the Acrobat. The colors of this deck are just wonderful. Number 3, Redemption. Now this, how many cards are in this deck? Let me check the box again. I believe there are going to be 50 some odd cards in this deck. Let's see, I've forgotten. Well, I'll count them for you when we're done. Let's just keep on going. Redemption, lovely. Lovely, looks like a very saintly figure riding the back of a dragon, perhaps. Yeah? And number 4 is the Hag, with a little demon child by her side, a snake of wisdom, perhaps. I would see it as wisdom. A lovely rose. This reminds me a lot of the flora from the Deviant Moon and Trionfi della Luna. This deck would probably also work very nicely with the Deviant Moon deck. Maybe. Here we look at this, Omniscience. Yeah, Omniscience, I would imagine. Looking very godly, up there with a torch. Oh, the art is just stunning. The all-seeing eye, lovely. Look at those abs. I want those abs. Just saying. Number 6 is Celestia. Now, Celestia, that's one of the muses, I believe. Maybe. I believe Celestia is a muse. How amusing. Here we have a star. Celestia, the celestial, right? So the heavens. 4 little dragons at her feet. Lovely. And the buffoon. Look at that grin on this guy's face. And the dancing makes me think a little bit of the opera, Rigoletto. I could see this figure singing that song, yeah? Pagliacci riso, da 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 da. The clown that's crying, wiping off his makeup. I believe that's what's happening in that scene. Oh, the harpy. That is a totally screaming harpy, right? With the chicken legs and the wings for arms. Look at that harpy. With a crown of stars, too. Interesting. On how many skulls? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. At least 11 skulls at her feet. Oh, look at this. This is fabulous. So this is the butcher, right? Do you notice the splashes of blood on the border of the cards? Of the card? That's fabulous. We got some hams up there. We got a horse in the background. And he's standing with 1 foot on a pumpkin. Standing with a foot on a pumpkin. That's interesting. The tree of life. The tree that we humans never quite got to, right? That we were guarded against. The tree of knowledge is the one that we got to in paradise. The tree of life we were forbidden from because it gives us eternal life. And here we have from the heart, we have blood pouring into chalices. We got fire in the background. We got fire burning at the top of the heart. Gorgeous card. This is number 10. Oh, I won't have to count. It looks like they're all numbered for me. Woohoo! Lucky for you. The Doctor. Now this is interesting. Look at that. Instead of a very healthy human face, we got what looks like a very dead-looking body, right? And the top of the head has been chopped open, and it looks pretty empty in there. And yet you can see a tongue inside of the mouth, so it's not really a skeleton. Now we can see dried up flesh on the face, so it's not really a skeleton face, right? It's not a skull. There's more to it than that. One shoe on, one shoe off. That's interesting. What would that mean? Very, very interesting. A portly sick person. A Leviathan, yeah, the water creature from biblical times. Looking a little bit like the creature from the what lagoon? The creature from the what is the name of that creature? The creature from the something lagoon, the black lagoon, the wet lagoon, it's something. Anyways, card 12, we got the creature with this very dead looking fish next to it. Interesting. And what are those things in the background? They don't look like fish, they look more like single cell creatures, but very large for single cell creatures. 13, chaos. Chaos, so many things in one body. We got a monkey head, we got what look like raven wings, we've got a fish leg, a fish for a leg, fish don't have legs. We've got maybe a cow leg here, we've got a human arm, we've got a human torso, a lobster for a violin, a snake for a bow. This is just amazing. And then I'm not sure what kind of claw this is, but man, that's amazing. And then is this a phallus? A fire? Made out of wood? I don't know. Is it just a torch? Or is it a phallic thing? Or both? The owl here has what looks like a telescope in its mouth, doesn't it? Skull here looks actually like it's not from chaos, like it belongs there. The rest of it doesn't look like it belongs there. Ooh, the wounded man. The wound man, I'm sorry, not the wounded man, but the wound man. Reminding me a little bit of Saint Sebastian without the tree. Pierced all over the place. Saint Sebastian is one of my favorites, actually. Oh, and look at that. Okay, so not all of them, but some of the borders have particular markings on them, right? We had the blood for the butcher, right? There was the bloody... There's a little bit of a marking, I guess, there for the harpy, the butcher. Okay, so I hadn't really paid attention, but a lot of these borders do have markings on them. Let's see if I can pay a little bit more attention to that. But love this levitating wound man there for 14. So it's not the hanging man, like the hanged man would be 12, right? So that's not what it is. The backs. Oh, now, wait a second. Something else I didn't notice. When I showed you what I thought was the back of the deck, apparently that was not the back of the deck. There are additional, I see. So there are additional cards here. Are you regretting having come to watch me walk through this deck? So there's a small stack of additional cards to this deck. Brother. So the main deck, the backs of the main deck look like this, with an eye and very 18th century, I should say, decor to it. Okay, so here we go with Adelina. Adelina doesn't really strike any bells, ring any bells for me. Doesn't strike any chords for me. Does Adelina mean anything to you? If she does, let me know in the comments below. But we have what look like maybe fairy wings, a whole slew of wings on her back. In the flowers, we got birds flying in the moonlit sky. Just gorgeous. Notice the crown. The crown on her head is just so delicate. Maybe Adelina is a fairy. Blemye. Yeah, the creature, which reminds us of, there was a person, and I don't remember who it was, who claimed to have traveled from Africa back to Europe, and said that in Africa he saw creatures that looked like this. No heads, well, with the head in the chest. Does that ring any bells for you? It was a travel log of somebody who claimed to have been to Africa and was returning from there. The monkfish. Okay, so really monkfish don't look like this, but this is a monkfish. A monk, half fish. Tail right there at the very end of the body with a celestial orb up there. The stars look like they're falling from the sky. Very Franciscan looking monk, right? With a tonsure. Interesting. That's card 17. Card number 18 is matrimony. Yeah? Would have been interesting if we had the red king and the white, or is it the red queen and the white? No, it's the red king and the white queen. That would have been interesting. But we do have the alchemical sun-moon marriage here, even though the queen is blue. You'll notice that their hands end in a tentacle and they are entwined with each other. They both carry power scepters in their opposite hands, both standing on individual plinth-like cliffs. Very interesting. 3 stars above the sun, 3 stars above the moon, and a very large star in the center with maybe a phoenix coming down from the heavens, perhaps. Very interesting for matrimony. Bedfellows. So, this is card number 19, and we have a male presenting figure, a female presenting figure. We have a devil presenting figure in the center. Like the Lovers card, instead of an angel in the center, we've got a devil in the center. And under the sheets, we see that perhaps each one of them ends in a tentacle instead of legs, right? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. The bodies here are just gorgeous. And the faces are gorgeous too. The temple. So we have what looks like a hermetic kind of symbol at the top of the temple. We got faces in the windows. We got a heart here down at the bottom, and a skull. We got the sun and the moon, and perhaps the grail or a chalice from the Eucharistic celebration, perhaps. An eye on the door. That's interesting. Very interesting temple, right? A mix of different symbols for card 20. Number 21, the automaton. Now the mechanical human. We've got a clock down here with gears. We got a regular looking doll face with one eye, very different than the other. This might even be a camera, right? The arms are very mechanical looking with doll hands. Very interesting. There's also a gear and what looks like some kind of maybe a creature or something. I don't know. Right here. What does that look like to you? Love the wig on this thing. And it might have wheels down here as well. I wonder, is this mobile? It looks like it might be mobile. The mandrake, yes. The root herb that is similar to ginseng. Now, the mandrake looks like a human being. The root looks a little like a human being underneath the ground. And you pull it out, and you see the mandrake, used in both magic and also in traditional medicines. And Mercurius. Now, Mercurius doesn't look very much like Mercury to me. This Mercurius figure has 2 heads in their hand and a bloody axe above their shoulder. Looks like an eclipsed sun and an eclipsed moon, maybe. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And these legs seem to end in what might be a tentacle, maybe. I don't really see feet down there. Kind of reminds me of the Statue of Liberty at the top. Just saying. Okay. So, 24. The glutton. Now we got a person stuffing their face with pastries. We got cakes galore. Pretty straightforward. Notice the picture here of what looks like it might be a horse that's been covered. I wonder why that horse has been covered. That's interesting. Very interesting. Different kind. All of these cakes look like they're berry-based cakes, don't they? With a very, and the glutton himself is wearing a berry-colored jacket. Interesting. The cauldron, yes, the cauldron. We got a pot, we got the fire, we got a skull on it, and in the cauldron we've got what looks like the skeleton with breasts of a nun and two tentacles with heads on them. Very interesting. And an eye between them, an eye in the belly maybe. 26, Utopia. So, this figure down here, looking very male to me, is perhaps a pauper dreaming of a utopian city. That's what I see here. Is that what you see in this card number 26? That this person here who has a begging bowl in front of what looks like a very dark city is dreaming of a bright, colorful, utopian, I would imagine, city that he could live in. 27. Punishment. Poor little devil. Reminds me of do you remember Hot Stuff, who is the devil friend of Casper the Friendly Ghost? Hot Stuff. This figure, while not drawn to look like Hot Stuff, reminds me of Hot Stuff. And fire farts coming out of his buttocks, being spanked by this very, very matronly looking woman. Beautiful. Beautiful. The color and the images on these cards is just fabulous. Leila, I should say Leila. Now, that name rings a bell, but I can't tell you why. We got webs. This figure has her hands crossed at the wrist, and webs she doesn't look like her hands are bound, but there are webs that look like they are attached to her wrists. And she's got vines growing out of her back that grow into what looks like a very heart-shaped form behind her. Flowering vines. And yet, there are flowers here. She's beautiful, and yet it's a very dark-looking card, right? The drunkard. Okay, so public shame. Stuck in a barrel. This looks like a scholar's or a doctor's cap. So maybe we've got a doctor who's being shamed for his inebriation by the rest of the town. With stars in the above, and we got a bottle of wine there behind him. And a fermenting cask, that's what I think that is. What does it say here? Shund. Doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, moving on to number 30. We have the ladder, like Jacob's ladder, going up to the heavens. We have a celestial being up there. We've got a human climbing up through the clouds. Lovely. Ascension, maybe. Reaching for unity with the divine. Sophia, yes, we have Sophia. I love that. Now, Sophia, the divine feminine, wisdom in Greek. Or rather than the divine feminine, the feminine divine, the female divine. Right? I love that she's a dark figure and that she's standing on a planet over what we would consider as the universe. And she's standing in a very red-looking universe of her own, with what looks like maybe one snake wrapped around a wand, and I forgot what that's called. It's not a caduceus, it's something else. You probably know. Let me know in the comments below. What is that called? Show that you're smarter than me. But that's really interesting, right? Love the wings on her. Love her hair. Gorgeous hair. Gorgeous gown as well. Okay, I'm sorry. Drooling over Sophia is over, and just to let you know, I've heard a rumor that there is going to be a Sophia-based deck that's going to be coming out, a tarot deck based on what I would say as the feminine divine. You know? The world, the Alma Mundi, the Sophia, All of that, all wrapped together, I think. That's what I heard. Just a rumor. Not from Patrick Valenza, from somebody else. Pedigree. So here we have what looks like a family tree, right? One's pedigree. Maybe this is the central figure, perhaps. Don't know. We got a dragon-like figure behind the tree. A very estate-like home above this central figure. Number 33, homunculus, yeah? The little human-like creature growing in a vase with flowers and the sun and the moon. I see there's a lot of alchemical potential to this deck. That's why I'm hoping that there is a guidebook somewhere for this. I'm sure there has to be online, but I just forgot. I didn't remember to check for us. Separation. And this poor being here on the ground has definitely been separated. We got a head here, we got a torso here, we have 2 legs, 1, 2, 2 arms, 1, 2. I assume having been separated by this figure, it would have been interesting if they had cut this figure into 14 pieces like Osiris had been cut open, yeah? But maybe this is another being. Maybe this is, I don't know, Midas or something. God, let there be a guidebook. Let there be a guidebook. Seraph. Yeah, from Seraphim. Seraph, an angel being. So this is one angel, the Seraph. With only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wings. And melancholy. Really? Okay, yeah, she's stabbing herself, so that would be kind of melancholy. But except for the stabbing of the chest, she actually looks kind of, I wouldn't completely say happy, but she looks enraptured. However, she does seem to have a letter in one hand. She does seem to be stepping off of a cliff, and she does seem to be distracted by these 2 demon-like beings as she stabs herself with her gorgeous dress and her very equally matchy-matchy gorgeous hat. Lovely. And you notice there's blood down here, right down there in the corner. Yeah? Interesting. The Count. The Count with a bone cane. Now, I guess this is a sword, the sheath of a sword, maybe? Not sure about that. Is that his waistcoat, his coat, or are those his ribs that we're seeing through him? I don't know. I'm going to say that these look like muscles. So it looks like this Count has been skinned to a certain extent, or he's wearing internal musculature designed clothes. Like, see here in the arms as well as the legs and what looks like ribs here. But then again, it also looks like clothes, right? Very interesting. And this cloth behind the Count. And see the shadow? Detail in this deck is just phenomenal. So here we have, oh my God, 38, the Harlot. A very highly paid harlot, or at least well-born harlot. This harlot has money. And she's being visited by what looks like a demon, right? In the streets of a very posh-looking city deep in the night. This harlot has got some coin to rub together somewhere. That came out wrong. She's got some coin to rub together. And I don't know where that coin is right now. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so the grotto. Lovely. Kind of hidden, someplace to hide away from the world, right? This person seems to be... Now, I don't know. Is this the person entering the grotto or coming out of the grotto? Reminding me of some hermit cards. Not all, but some hermit cards have the hermit inside of a cave. Mostly they're on top of mountains, but this one looks like it has a hermit echo to me. The sentry, keeping watch through the day, maybe? I don't know. Is this daytime or nighttime? But we have the sentry inside of a sentry's hut or a sentry station. Very beautifully created one, right? This kingdom has some wealth to it. all decked out in their armor, looking more comfortable in their armor than I think one normally would, frankly speaking. Got a sword by their leg. Sentry keeping watch, but this sentry is not really keeping watch as they should. Are they? 41, the Ruby Queen. Okay. So maybe the next one will be the White King. We'll see. Red face, red arm, both red and white. So this Ruby Queen has got a little bit of a white element to her as well, which is interesting. Love the gown on this queen. The crown, the city in the background, the star in the sky. The fawn. Okay, so the next card is not the king, but the fawn. Looking very fawnish. 2 pipes out in the moonlight. Very Pan-looking fawn. No? The accompanier of Bacchus or Dionysus. Piety. This figure is praying, and he has both the angelic feminine on one shoulder and the very pissed off feminine on the other shoulder. In the background, we have a burning mountain and what looks like it might be either a town hall or a church. Interesting, right? Piety. How pious do you think? Is this true piety, or is this a front or a facade of piety? Which do you think it is? And, oh, mermaid. We got a mermaid in Egypt. I wonder if mermaids are in Egyptian lore. I didn't think they would be, but I suppose they could. We got pyramids here in the background. Love the red tail, the red hair. Stars in the sky. Look at the shells here on oh look, star in the sky and a star here on the ground, a starfish. Phenomenal. Be cool. I wonder if this is a sand dollar. Do you know what a sand dollar? Well, depending on where you live, if you're not from the United States, if I say sand dollar, does that mean anything to you? Just curious if that's a US only thing or if that's an international thing. The old devil, oh, that old devil, look at that old devil. Yeah, beard, kind of scratching his head. Looks like they might have a little touch of dementia. His wings are a little bit frayed, yeah. Looks like he's using his trident as a walking stick and using his tail to support him maybe a little bit. Kind of paunchy. One horn is all broken down, poor baby. But we still have the faces in the knees. And often there would also be an accompanying face in the belly, but that face is maybe covered up by a tubby tummy. Okay, so we've got a lot of cards in this deck, right? 46, Purgation. And what looks like a tree has tentacles as well, and faces in the tree. How many faces? I see 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, but I see an extra pair of horns without a face below it, which is interesting. Looking like a very angelic figure, chopping down perhaps a demonic tree, maybe? I don't know. We got flowers in the background. Domination. So we've got 2 lions here, a red and what looks like a blue-green lion, both striving for domination, I suppose. We've got blood spurting out of a crown above them. Oftentimes these lions have crowns above them, right? Got a little bit of blood down there on the ground as well. Wow, look, this one lion has scratch marks on his side. This lion has scratch marks on a leg here, as well as new scratches coming on another leg. Now the rear leg and the foreleg and the hind leg. Looks like there might be scratches here as well. They're really going at it, aren't they? Okay, for number 48, the Rebus. Yeah, the Rebus. That's the Hermetic. Now, I don't know. When you see Rebus, do you think rabbi, like maybe a female rabbi? But no, this is the Rebus. It's the hermaphrodite. Yeah, half male, half female. The union of both the red and the white, the red king and the white queen. This is an alchemical symbol. Yeah, the king has his sword. The queen has her cup with snakes in it. reminding us a little bit of either Eve or the wisdom and the thought of the Rebus. But they're standing on these. Is this one creature with two heads down here? That's interesting. Notice there's an eye here and there are two faces down here at the bottom. There are four faces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? I. I said too many eyes. Oh, and there are two more. This is such an interesting deck. Patrick is just an amazing vision designer, artist, vision creator, vision receiver of inspiration. He's just wonderful. And deliverance. Okay, so I guess we can assume that this knight has delivered this child from some danger, but the way that knight is holding that sword, this child does not look like it's out of danger completely. You notice the volcano in the background though. That knight is going to get very hot very quickly with that fire so close to that suit of armor. I'm just saying. Number 50. Yes, there are a lot of... Oh, and Ouroboros, which is fabulous, right? The infinity symbol. And this Ouroboros has titties and wings and blood dripping down from a celestial orb. Interesting. So let's see. Here's the head, and it winds around. We got an extra little wind here, and then the tail goes up into the mouth. And we've got a city, two cities maybe, with a river. A river runs through it. And okay, so here is a card for the Zammer twins. One with a lost eye, being held by the alchemical eagle, I believe. And a bat in one hand, and what is that? A rabbit in the other? Interesting. Standing on a bunch of other creatures. Very, very interesting. Blood dripping from the sky. Okay, so now here comes the additional deck. Now wait a second. Didn't we have Celestia in here? Yeah, we had Celestia in here for card 6. Ah, interesting. So we've got, I guess these are additional, or well, you could choose between the images. I'm not sure why we have these. I mean, the difference is not so great. I'm not sure. Okay, so that was 6. What do we have here next? We have card number 25, which was the cauldron. Let me pull out 25. Let's see, going through, this should not be that difficult. Card number 25, the cauldron. I'm not sure why I would choose this card over this card. They both look very, I mean, the art style is different, sure, but I'm not exactly, I don't get what's up with these yet. There might be something on the site that I just don't remember. Here we have the homunculus. And let me pull out the homunculus from this deck. It's number 33. 36 is after 33. Here's the homunculus. The homunculus. I'm not sure if is this to match another deck? I just don't know. Okay. And here we have number 50. The old 50 is the old devil? No. The old devil was card number... The old devil... Where are you, old devil? You old devil, you? Number 45. But here it's card number 50, which is an interesting thing. I wonder why. Okay. And then we have the Ouroboros, which should be 52, and is actually 50 here. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I don't know. So, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'll just keep these off to the side because I don't know. So we've got 50 cards. 51 if you add in the twins. The Z card would be 51. I don't think I'm going to include these cards in the deck. I got to think about that. Having an extra Ouroboros would be fine, or an extra Old Devil would be fine, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. So now, friends, what am I going to do? If you want to skip ahead, feel free. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this deck, and then I'm going to shuffle this deck. This is my my Jean Noblet card deck that was produced by Flournoy, the producer Flournoy. I've got a couple of Flournoy's decks. I have this one. I have the Dodal. I think I might have one more of Flournoy's decks, but I do have this and the Dodal deck. I picked this one because it's a small deck and it's already shuffled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this deck a few times. I'm going to shuffle this deck a couple of times and do a 3-card reading with this and add an oracle card to it and see if it makes sense and if I like the way they look together. So friends, if you want to skip ahead through the shuffle, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to start with this deck first. I'm going to start with this deck. So, I believe I have a walkthrough of this deck on my channel. This is the Noblet by Flournoy. Beautifully redrawn and cleaned up Noblet deck. It's nice and small. Let me show it to you compared to a US Games deck, just so you know. But the cardstock is thick and it's a little bit uncomfortable to shuffle because of its thickness. But I'm going to do it anyways. So we're going to do a 3-card spread here. And the question is, what would we benefit from knowing? What would we as a collective benefit from knowing or giving our attention to? What would we benefit from giving our attention to? So I'm going to be doing my standard shuffle. It's going to take a while. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? 1, 2, 3. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? Whoops. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? 4. Are you anticipating something wonderful? I hope you are. 4. 5. Oh, sorry. Space is a little bit tight here so that I could get the camera close enough for you to be able to see these. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? 6. One more overhand. Now, the weather here is is very humid. Okay, the weather here is extremely humid right now. And that has softened up these cards considerably. Now, because this is a Tarot de Marseille deck, and it's a reproduction, a reprint, a redoing of a Noblet deck, you notice that the corners are not rounded, they're kind of sharp. Oh, I didn't mention that, but you probably already saw that. In the Zammer Twins Oracle, the cards, like a Tarot de Marseille, are also squared off, right? They are not rounded. The cardstock, well, we'll see when we shuffle it. 7, 8, okay. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? One more overhand shuffle. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? What would we benefit from giving our attention to? I'm feeling an ace of coins, but probably I shouldn't have said that. What would we benefit from giving our attention to? Okay, so I'm going to start off here to the left. 1. So we got the 7 of Swords, 2, and the 8 of Swords. I swear to goodness, I shuffled these. And then we have the Queen of Wands. Now, I would generally add a card at the, I'll do it now. Okay, good. Now, you may be asking, why the heck did you add a card? Well, I added a card because the Queen was looking off of the spread. Does that make sense? Now, the Queen was looking off of the spread, so I tend to want to know what the Queen has on her mind when that kind of thing happens. So, what do we have here for a reading? 8 of Swords for me would be contemplation. The the Oracle deck is sliding all over the place off onto the side. I guess it's anxious to come into play. The 8 of Swords is, not this 8. This is the 6 of Swords. Okay, so the 6 of Swords that was interesting. I guess because I saw 7, I imagined that I just assumed this would have to be 8. But no, this is the 6 of Swords. Sorry. So the 6 of Swords, that for me is the beauty of thought. Enjoying thinking, enjoying what we think about, enjoying what we're speaking and talking, having conversations. You see how this flower here is just blooming beautifully here in the beauty of the mind. And before that, we had the 7. Which 7s is, for me, it's bringing that element out into the world. Now, bringing the element out into the community. So teaching, public speaking, talking to other people. So this Queen, who is the Queen of independence and action and creativity and maybe even having babies, but definitely creativity. She is bringing with her the pleasure of thinking and the enjoyment of sharing what she thinks with the community, with those around, and perhaps even be embodying the role of teacher for her community. Now, she's facing off with a novice. Now, if we're looking at elemental dignities for this, and I'm just starting to think of adding that into my reading practice, water and fire, they are not very happy together. As far as dignities go, yeah? And seeing how this Queen seems to be queenly and was really the initial last card of the spread, she's the focus to me. So this Page of Cups, the insecure one, not sure about love, not sure whether they will or they won't. Their emotions are covered. They don't quite understand what they feel. Now, so this Queen, while she's really in her mind, and air and fire, they support each other very well. So from her thinking and her communicating, she is well supported in her creativity, but emotionally, she's got a little bit of a challenge for herself. Yeah, there's a little bit of an emotional and maybe even intuitive immaturity to her, which she might want to give attention to, right? So that's what I got just for a really, really bare bones reading of this spread. Let's see what the Zammer Oracle is going to reveal for us. So I'm not going to shuffle here because I don't want to mess up this spread. Let me check what you can see. Let me figure out where I can put this card here. Okay, I'm going to bring these guys out a little bit and try to fit the Zammer Oracle on screen to the left and see if that oracle works as well as I hope it will with a Tarot de Marseille deck. So I'm going to shuffle down here. So I'm sorry, again, if you want to skip ahead to the reading, feel free. But, okay, well, look at that. It overhand shuffles very nicely. The finish on the Zammer Twins Oracle it's that kind of not rubberized, but it's a matte finish that has the feel of wax. It's a little bit waxy, do you know what I mean? There's a waxy kind of semi-gloss matte finish for some plastic-sized cards, and it's got that feeling. So it overhand shuffles nicely. It doesn't go flying out of my hands, if you know what I mean. And it riffle shuffles. Ah, look at that. Ah, it riffle shuffles beautifully. Now there are 50 cards here, but it's a very thin deck. Yeah. So if you've got long hands like I do, riffle shuffling this deck is going to be a dream. Can you riffle shuffle from the side? Let's see. Oh yeah, you can riffle shuffle from the side as well. I wouldn't want to do that because I got big hands, and that is actually kind of uncomfortable for me. But if you have smaller hands, I think that would be possible. Because again, look, this deck, 50 cards, and it's that wide. Yeah, the standard Tarot deck. Let me give you a standard Tarot deck. It's a different deck, but yeah, you can kind of see there the difference in size. And this deck has fairly thin cardstock, but it's durable. It's kind of that plasticized cardstock. It feels like wax and is, like I said, very durable. Let me do one more overhand, do a couple more riffles, and I'll pull a card because that's what it feels. No, I don't read jumpers. I'm just saying, I don't read jumpers. I know that jumpers are not because of the cards, they're because of my shuffling skills. 1, 2. And this is where I wish that I had my hands on a guidebook right now. Okay, 3. And one more overhand, and I'll pull a card. So remember, the focus of this reading is this queen for us, right? And remember that you are a queen, I am a queen. It doesn't matter whether we are in a male body, a female body, a trans body, a cis body, an intersex body, whatever. We are all queens, we're all kings, we're all pages, we're all knights. And so what advice, what information can you add to this spread? Okay, so I think that fits on the camera for you, the cauldron. The cauldron. Yes, and I think this is going to work very nicely for my Tarot de Marseille readings, which I won't use this deck for this week's Tarot de Marseille reading, but I will use it in the future. I think the one after next week or the week after. So cauldron, what is that? We got 3 beings in one cauldron. So what I'm thinking of here is kind of like the 3 of Cups, where we bring elements of we join together to work together alchemically to make one thing. Kind of like, where's my pointer? Where's my pointer? Holy cripes. Okay, so let me use something else. Kind of like salt, mercury, and sulfur for the alchemical process. Yeah, we bring those 3 together to make, to work on the prima materia to create gold as the end result, right? So bringing stuff together, bringing elements together. So maybe that's what it's saying. So we've got a very developed mind. We've got very developed passion here, passion, creativity, sexuality. It's time to add in a focus of our emotions. I think that's what it's calling us for, especially since, cup, cauldron. We've got the vessel for liquids in both of these cards. So add in to what we've already got our strong foundation in, add in our emotions and give ourselves the opportunity to have those emotions, that emotional state evolve for us. Am I making sense? I hope I am. If I am making sense, let me know in the comments below. If I'm not making sense, let me know in the comments below, because right now I'm looking for how Oh, there it is. There, I found it. So yeah, this cauldron, this cup. Add this into our already matured mind and passions. Get some maturity going here and we're good to go. Yeah? So friends, thank you very much. If you're still here, hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you got something out of it and it will show the channel to more people. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell because, again, not this coming week, but the week after, I'm going to be using this deck for my Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune series. So you might want to stop by and get notifications of when those videos are uploaded. And comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have this deck? Are you going to use this deck? Do you know that? I'll let you know if there's a guidebook. Yeah, friends, we're at the end. Thank you very much. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.